working for you. A weekly talk radio program which highlights developments of national interest and the activities of your St. Kitts Nevis government. Join host Roy Williams as he presents news, views, reports, and interviews about everything regarding the activities of the Team Unity government and the building of our communities and the development of St. Kitts Nevis. Tune in and call in to interact with your government and share your views regarding the upward forward development of your community and our beautiful Twin Island Federation. Working for you is weekly, every Wednesday live from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. on ZIZ Radio, Win FM, and Sugar City FM with rebroadcast on participating stations. Working for you.
Good afternoon and a warm welcome to Working for You. I am Roy Williams. Thank you very much for tuning in to today's program. Wherever you are, we hope that you would enjoy today's program very much. Today we are going to be discussing food. And all of us like to participate in the discussion when it is about food. We are going to be discussing today about Restaurant Week, which is an initiative of the Ministry of Tourism. Restaurant Week is in its 4th year, and each year, for those 4 years, they've had a theme ingredient that is used throughout the participating restaurants to prepare dishes and so on. I think they've had yam, they've had pumpkin, they've had breadfruit, and this year it is plantain. So I have on my panel very efficient, I must say, and knowledgeable people in terms of Restaurant Week. People from the Ministry of Tourism, the private sector, and of course we have our consultant with us. I'll start introducing you, Kathleen Pesolano, who is a consultant in the Ministry of Tourism, Yaya Farai, who is the part owner of ITEL Creations. We have Dianelle Taylor Williams, who is no stranger to this program. You were here sometime recently. And Dianelle is the Assistant Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism. And we have Mrs. Carleen Henry Morton, who is the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism. Welcome to all of you to this program.
Thank you.
Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Good. Restaurant Week in its 4th year. Kathleen, can you tell us, Restaurant Week, what is Restaurant Week and why Restaurant Week?
Well, Restaurant Week is a movement, really. It's a platform for restaurants to enjoy increased traffic. That's really the main gist of Restaurant Week, is promoting traffic to restaurants during the low season of tourism. But it's also become a platform for sustainable development in many other ways, promoting linkages between sectors beyond just tourism. So agriculture, of course, and other business sectors, artisans we're working with this year really strongly. So it's really become a movement now for restaurants and hotels and their suppliers and customers to enjoy dining, local cuisine, culture, and all of the other really attractive products and aspects of life that St. Kitts and Nevis brings. So it takes place every year in July for a reason, because of the off-peak time now, to really drive the economy and create all these connections. But the hope is that the practices that we're promoting local sourcing and really connecting the dots among different sectors of the economy will be continued for the rest of the year.
Right, so we are talking about sustainable tourism.
Exactly.
Yes.
Of course, tourism, you have the high season and what we call the low season. And we want to have tourism and all year round.
Ideally.
Ideally. And Restaurant Week is such initiative, where people can patronize restaurants and so on throughout the island, in Nevis as well,
Yes.
of course, and use a local product as the main ingredient.
Exactly.
Right. Now, in terms of how you market Restaurant Week, how do you do that? Not just locally, but regionally and internationally.
Yep. So Restaurant Week, I mean, it's really just about, like you said, marketing and promoting what's already taking place day in and day out here. It's not like a festival or other activity that really takes a lot of brick and mortar building and bringing people to enjoy some artificial experience. It's really just about driving traffic and connecting folks to existing businesses and showcasing what they have to offer every day, all day, every day. And so really it's about getting the word out. So in its first years, it's really just like you said, in its fourth year. And so the attention has really been on promoting local enjoyment for those that are here,
Yes.
visitors that may happen to already be on island or in the Federation at the time, as well as, of course, residents who are here all the time. And so a lot of the marketing effort has really been on just, the local market. However, as Restaurant Week grows and it becomes an event that others may decide to travel for, and we develop more resources to hopefully be able to promote Restaurant Week to outside markets even more strongly. Strategically, I know the idea is to try to reach international markets and even regional markets at first as well. Music Festival, of course, has grown over more than 20 years. A similar initiative taking place in this, off-peak season, and so that now is a world-class, one of the largest and most successful music festivals in the world, certainly in the Caribbean, and so Restaurant Week has the same potential. But we, really need partnerships to get the word out strongly, and those that have access to those international marketing channels. But that's really always been the kind of strategic approach to focus first here. Tourism's not just for international visitors. The restaurants are here every day serving everyone who lives here, and then strategically growing to a point where it may be more of an international tourism event.
Right. I was researching on the internet, and Restaurant Week is not unique to St. Kitts and Nevis. It is something they have in New York and in other places, Australia and so on.
Even in Jamaica.
And in Jamaica and so on. So basically it is to do the same thing, to sort of get people to promote restaurants, to promote the food, the cuisine and so on that they Now, not everybody, of course, can afford to eat in a restaurant. Mind you, this is just one time, but are there discounts?
Yes, there is actually a tiered structure to some of the offerings that we have. There is a 3-course dinner, EC 162 or US $60, and we have a number of restaurants offering at that level. Then we have a 3-course dinner, EC 108 or US $40, and quite a number of restaurants offering there as well. And there is a 54 EC or US 20, these dinner specials, because we want people to feel as if they, everyone can, as long as you understand, Restaurant Week is coming around and you save towards it if you have to do so. But I mean, some of the prices that we are seeing here, you don't even necessarily have to save towards it. I mean, they are quite reasonable and quite affordable. There are some very, very deep discounts that our local establishments are offering. So, and that is one of the things that I really like about Restaurant Week, because we try to promote the message to our citizens and residents that the restaurants and the dining establishments are not just for our visitors or for our guests, that they are for our local people as well, to go and to patronize and to treat themselves every now and again. It doesn't have to be once a year either. That is something that we need to build into our budgets, that every now and again I work hard and I'm going to treat myself, and so I'm going to take my hubby or my daughter or my son or whatever out to a restaurant at least 2 or 3 times in a year. That is at the very least. You know, we should be able to look after ourselves and to treat ourselves every now and again for the hard work that we do. So it is, and it is also a way for our locals and residents to become our own ambassadors. You cannot promote what you have not experienced yourself. And we are relying on our locals to be able to tell our visitors, you want a vegetarian dish, this is an ideal place to go. And I can tell you that it is going to be good because I've been there myself. I've tasted it, and I can confirm that you are going to really enjoy the meal and so on. I mean, we have to be able to be our own ambassadors to promote and to market our own product. And so that is one of the ways in which we, I think through Restaurant Week, we are exposing our locals to what we have here on island to offer. Fine dining, and we go right across to just a casual chit-chat type of meal. And we want people to know that whatever it is they're looking for right here on St. Kitts, we have it.
Sure. Now, I know that you've had yam, you've had pumpkin, you've had breadfruit. This year it is plantain. Some time ago you were here, I think it was last year, and I asked about these recipes. And if you were collecting them and probably putting them into some sort of a recipe book. Any progress on that?
We have been collecting them. The book, it looks very promising for year 5, which is next year. That is going to be a milestone year for us. And it is conceivable that by then we should have some collection of the various recipes and, you know, the winning entries and that type of thing to share with the general public. So I'm glad that you're reminding us so that we can remind ourselves that that is an area that perhaps we need to pay special attention to as we plan for next year.
Okay. Now, Restaurant Week features what you call Restaurant Week experiences. What's that?
Those are some, apart from the general calendar that we have and the various levels and points and so on, as Diane said, this is a little extra. Some special events that have been put on that we add to the offerings. So we have on Friday the 20th, that's gone already, but I think we had a paint and sip, and we had a complimentary pre-wine dinner that was put on by Rams and so on. But if I can go forward, today for example, at Rams there was a complimentary pre-dinner wine tasting, and that was at Marshall's, or it is supposed to be from 7 to 9, so people can still, prepare themselves to attend that particular event. On the 26th, there is again at Rock Lobster, there is a pre-dinner wine tasting, again compliments of Rams, and that goes from 6:30 to about 8:30. And we have Taste the Tradition, that is in Nevis now at Rodney's Cuisine, Stony Grove in Nevis, and she goes from 11 a.m. until, and I hear that she really has a very good following, and last year people left very satisfied with what she had to offer. So I have no doubt that she's going to outdo herself again this year, because the word would have gotten around, and by now most likely she's going to have an even bigger crowd. So she has to make sure that she's very impressive, put on a very impressive display and a service. On the 27th, we have again the pre-dinner wine tasting, and this time it's at Serendipity, 7 to 9. Saturday the 26th, we have the pre-dinner wine tasting again, that is at Marshall's from 7 to 9. And you told me about something that has been added.
The winner of the cocktail, the best cocktail using plantain, is going to be guest bartending at Jamrock on Friday the 27th and on Saturday the 28th. So that's a really good opportunity for folks to come out and enjoy the best plantain cocktail on St. Kitts and Nevis, as decided by the distinguished panel of judges as part of
Right.
the. Yes, and there's also an artisan showcase on Saturday at Carambola where 4 artisans from St. Kitts will be showcasing and at retail selling their goods there, so that they'll be able to have access to this market of restaurant goers that may not already be something that people at Carambola can see. So it's a special showcase taking place. And then Sunday,
Oh yes, there's a live cooking demo at the culinary studio by Sweet and Savory, and that starts at 4 p.m. So family, fun, wholesome activities. You can enjoy a delicious meal, and everybody goes out and basically have a very good time.
Right, with planting.
With planting.
Okay.
And others on the menu.
And planting is
And-
good.
and-
Because
yes,
it's
yes,
versatile.
yes.
You can use it green or you can use it red.
Right.
Right.
It's almost like a vegetable and like a fruit. It all
Right.
depends on,
Yeah.
on your choice.
No, I think one of the objectives of Restaurant Week is to promote small business
Yes.
and to work along with small business. Now, Yaya Farai, I know that ITEL Creations has partnered with the ministry and so on and been involved in Restaurant Week. What has been your experience?
It's been great. We've been since the very first time, and the approach, the people is very excited to taste that special dish for the restaurant week. It's very nice.
Okay. Now, it is my understanding as well that you are into a lot of environmentally friendly initiatives.
Yes,
You're a big supporter of planet Earth,
I am.
ecological balance,
Yes.
and all of that. Could you tell me a little bit more about that part of yourself?
It's a mission. We have a mission in ITAL Creations. Actually, this last April, we officially banned styrofoam. So we are using compostable containers, and also we are trying to bring, go back to your roots by bringing your own containers by us. The whole idea is that people stop using the plastic, single-use plastics. So you can bring your own container to Arte Creations. If it's a to-go container, you bring your own container, and we give you a little discount. The whole idea is for people to get accustomed to bring your own stuff. The same way we are doing with the SKB free plastic. We bring in your own container, you bring your own cup, and you help yourself to reduce the consume of the plastic. So that's basically what is going on in ITAL Creations. We're trying to encourage people to do that little
Yes.
up,
And play your part.
Yeah.
a little part, yeah.
You play your part, and that's a very good initiative that you have. It's not just about selling food, but it's about holistic health. The healthy food, of course, a healthy earth,
That's
You
right.
know.
Use more food.
produce more food, and so it's a whole healthy cycle.
Everything goes
It
together.
is everything goes together. As I mentioned, that ecological balance,
Yes.
which we wish that more businesses would take that initiative.
Yes.
And Dioneel, of course, I see you're wearing your purple today.
Yes. Yes.
Plastic-free July
Continues.
continues, and restaurants, of course, use a lot of plastic
Yes.
straws, plastic cups, plastic plates, utensils, styrofoam, and these are the things that end up
In us.
creating
Problems.
Yes.
problems and
Yes.
creating pollution
Exactly.
and so on. So how is the ministry working along with restaurants
Okay.
to promote plastic-free July and beyond?
Exactly, yes. So we've been partnering and we've been speaking with businesses such as Ital Creations. There are other businesses we've gone out to. We've encouraged them to not give any plastic bags, especially persons who are ordering stuff to go, and not to give straws unless they are asked for. Because sometimes you go to these places and it's done automatically. Even if you do not even want it, you're giving it. It becomes a part of their business. So we've encouraged businesses. So far, a few businesses have partnered with us, including Park Hyatt. As a matter of fact, Park Hyatt is presently going through a transition where they're actually globally finishing away with plastics. So they'll be using bamboo straws and paper straws. So they've already skipped the straw. We have Shawarma King, Inan's Beach Bar, Vibes Beach Bar, and a couple other businesses who have come aboard the program since we started Plastic Free. The Plastic Free July Challenge. Now the thing is, people keep asking me, so what happened after July? After July, we are working towards a Plastic Free SKN. July is just the time when you highlight the need for us to end plastic pollution, but just like Mother's Day isn't the last day you love your mother, it's the same thing. Plastic Free July isn't the last month where you would want to end plastic pollution and take care of the environment in which you live, and that is what we are promoting. It's an ongoing thing. It's ongoing.
It should be ongoing,
and it should be a lifestyle.
A lifestyle.
Yes.
Yeah. One of the things that I saw, we're doing quite a lot of reading about this plastic-free thing, and in some countries, actually, they are calling for legislation.
Yes.
To ban single-use plastics.
I think there was the most
recent in the region. Yeah.
In the Caribbean, it's already happening too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And some places in Latin America.
Yes. Africa is. I mean, I saw something on Facebook recently, and I was like, Rwanda has banned plastics. Why can't St. Kitts and Nevis? Because I know they have challenges, major challenges in places like Rwanda, and they're saying absolutely no to plastics, especially single-use plastics, and they would have a greater challenge because of the size of the country, the poverty situation in the country. We are supposed to be more advanced, and so with the advance in terms of economics, we have to have advance in terms of knowledge. We should show it, we should demonstrate our wisdom, and so those are the things. And we don't always have to wait for legislation. If each one of us does one little thing, and in the single-use plastic, we would persuade the people in power, the powers that be, to take whatever steps. But if we can do it on our own, we don't always have to use the big stick.
We don't always have to, but it can help.
Of course. So right now what we are doing through our group, the Sustainable Destination Council, is to use moral suasion, encourage people to see the benefits to themselves and to their future generations by avoiding single-use plastics. And I know that I'm getting some tears these days when I go to the supermarket, because every time I get to the cashier, I say, no plastic. Sometimes I forget my reusable shopping bag and I say, it's okay, I still will not take any plastic bag. I'm going to go outside. I said to the lady last night in the supermarket, I had bought some bread. I said, but the bread is already in a plastic. Why are you going to put it in another one? She looked at me like, is this lady safe? But I insisted because it gave me an opportunity to speak to the staff when I say, no, I will not have a plastic. And they ask why. And that is another avenue
to teach.
Of get right. Exactly.
Education is important.
Yes.
It's very important. So our mission in Ital Creation is the same way. Educate. Because it's been so nice to see our clients coming with their own plates and their own,
Yes.
It's beautiful, and these things before, plastic is not been here, not even 100 years.
No.
So what we used before that, let's use the paper bags, let's use a reusable bag, let's, bring your own container. And I think St. Kitts is a small island. I think we can make this happen. We can make this happen. It's just to educate ourselves and be conscious that these things end up in the ocean, in the landfill, and it'll take 100 years.
More than that, actually.
Or more to disintegrate. This one here is a compostable straw. and it have the similar like plastic, but this is made from cellulose from corn. So this will disintegrate in maybe a few months or a year.
And your container as well, that you have the food. That's
containers.
compostable.
They are compostable, and there is something that I want to say about
The
that.
difference between what is compostable and biodegradable, they're not the same thing.
They are not. Biodegradable is everything in this world. The problem with biodegradable is the time that it takes to decompose. Compostable, it means that it's easier and fast to get back into the earth. No pollution.
Yes.
All the plastic, it have toxins in it that it will keep alive in the plastic forever. So even if the plastic just tear in microscopic size, it still have the toxins in it.
Inside.
And it will end up or in the ocean or in the land. And animals in the ocean, it will eat. It will be a chain until it get back to the humans. So eventually, it will affect us.
I don't know if you saw this video that was circulating on WhatsApp about this guy who went into a supermarket and he started complaining about they're selling plastic fish.
I heard somebody talking about that.
They're selling plastic fish. But when he said that, what came to mind is that it's a plastic fish because the fish is inside, plastic is inside the fish.
Fish, exactly.
And it somehow, affects the DNA.
Yes.
You are what you eat.
It affects
That is
the
what you
DNA
do.
of the fish.
Right.
And I think that's what he meant by plastic
Plastic
fish,
fish.
because you can't tell me that.
Literal.
It was, I don't think it was literal. Because everybody knows you cannot eat a plastic fish. It's
Exactly.
I don't think it was literal. I think it was more talking about that very same thing, how plastic pollution affects marine life and so
Yes,
on.
it's terrible. It's terrible.
I think that was a good segue into what we've been trying to get people to come out and see. The documentary that we've been showing in different places, called a plastic ocean. We are going to have one showing this Saturday at Ross University at 1 p.m. It's going to be 6 p.m. at ITEL Creations at the farm. We're also going to have it next week, Tuesday, at Shadwell Great House. People at 5:30 p.m. and people are invited because that gives you the perfect example of what we're talking about when you talk about the plastic fish. Because when they opened the whale, and you can look at the size of the whale, most of the whale was made up of plastic. As a matter of fact, that's why the whale died. The stomach was so full of big chunks of plastic that it couldn't digest those things, that it died. They're birds. 230 something pieces of plastic was taken out of a bird which was only 3 months old. And then the lady said, but that's not the record, because the guy who was looking at it with her was wondering, this has to be so much, this must be a record. She said, no, we actually took 276 pieces of plastic out of a 3-month-old chick.
And there were bottle caps.
Yes. Cigarette lighters.
You would
Those
be
are things
amazed
that
at
you
what they were
found
taking
anyway.
out of the birds and the fish and so on and so forth. What is even more worrisome for me, at least you can see the bottle caps and so on that they take out of these animals that have died, the whale that would have bleached itself and so on. But there are particles that you cannot see.
Yes.
You'll have to use a microscope to see them. But the fish are consuming, the fish in the ocean, they are consuming them because some of them, all they have to do is to open their mouth. They have a special filter, it goes in, and so on and so forth. And guess who is eating the fish?
Right.
We are the ones eating the fish.
Yeah.
So, it is worrisome on all levels. And I think I am happy that I went to see that particular, because it was the first viewing at the museum, the National Museum. I am happy that I went to see it, and I am very sad that I went to see it. It is a compelling documentary.
Very much.
It is worrisome. It is frightening. And I think all of us need to take an opportunity to go and look. It isn't that we are into fear mongering. we are telling people what actually is happening. It is the sad reality
a
of what is
reality.
happening.
Yeah,
And
yes.
so all of us in our own individual ways would need to contribute, play our part to reducing, even if it is, as we are saying, when I go to the supermarket, I am not going to take a plastic bag. When I go to a restaurant, I'm going to refuse to take a straw. And if half of St. Kitts says that, you could imagine what the impact would be in decreasing some of the use of plastics that we would have. We go back to the time as well when our forefathers, and I said that in a staff meeting that we had yesterday, it is amazing that our grandmothers and so on were not as exposed as we are. They couldn't go on the internet and so on, but for some reason they understood that you had to look after nature. I'm sure you come from a time when you used to have to go and buy your bread in a bread bag.
That is correct.
And the 1 pound paper bags and the 2 pound paper bags in which you bought your rice and flour, and so they would use them and use them and
That's
use them
right.
until they were almost sagging in defeat. But they somehow understood that that was the way to go. That you would have to take back your thing. And when you say 2 pounds of rice, please, you gave me the shopkeeper your bag, and she put it back in and so on and so forth.
In
We have
fact,
to
people
go
used to
back to
use the
that.
crocus bag to make bags
Of
and
course,
so on.
Right.
the flower bags
And
And the
that
flower
type of
bags to
thing,
make
yes.
bags and so on.
Right?
And life was so good.
And so that is something that we need to begin seriously thinking about, seriously contemplating again. And because sometimes you have to go backward to move forward.
That's true.
Sometimes that is
You
the way
do.
you have to
Go back
contemplate
to the
certain
roots.
things and make those choices.
Right.
Okay.
Now, Restaurant Week, as we said before, is a powerful, sustainable platform for tourism. And it has created many linkages. Could you speak to some of those linkages that it has created?
Kathleen mentioned one.
Systemic linkages.
The artisans. That is
The
a
artisans,
new, that is
yes.
a new initiative. Well, relatively new, because we have been trying, but we're actually getting some funding from the OAS to pair up artisans with certain restaurants and so on, so that you go out and you eat, yes, but somewhere in the corner there is someone who perhaps makes craft and whatever, and they're on display. And outside of you seeing them at that particular restaurant, you may not have ever had the opportunity to see
Right.
that person makes that level of craft and everything. And we are very, very happy with the progress that is being made by a number of our artisans. They are producing at extremely high levels. The packaging, I mean, you can't believe, as I said, I laugh when I say it, but it is true, they look like they came from in a way, as we like to say. You understand what I mean? They're very, very professionally done. So that is one. Then we have our showcase with our agro-processors, where
Yes.
hotels and agro-processors have actually been brought together, and some of the hotels are saying, well, I didn't know that X made Y. Peppers, for example, the hot sauce and so on. So we have actually had those types of linkages taking place where certain restaurants are now providing certain hotels
Yes.
with the travel size or bigger of certain products that they make and so on. We have had hotels as well asking some of our crafts people to make little souvenirs that they leave in the rooms,
Yes.
so that when you're leaving, you have this little courtesy, this little gift that has been given to you and so on. So it's growing legs, and we are seeing the types of partnerships and
Yes.
as we say, the linkages
Right.
that we would really want to see
Right.
developing from what's going on during Restaurant Week and other initiatives that are being introduced as we go along by the Ministry of Tourism.
Right. Because then the restaurants would need to get their planting.
Yep.
Yes, of course.
And they should really turn to the local
Um,
grown
Yes,
planting.
right? Ideally.
People who ideally people who grow planting locally and so on. And in that way you are supporting those who are involved in agriculture, the farmers, our local farmers. You're supporting local business, small business, which is really somehow, the small business is really the heart
Right?
Yes.
of development,
Of
Yes.
course.
Absolutely.
And that we're looking for that type of trickle down wherever we can get it.
Yeah, because sometimes we talk about big business. but we need to focus on those small entrepreneurs.
Yes.
Seems as you wanted to say something about that, Yaya.
Yes, just saying, when tourists come to Ital Creations, they amaze. We have a farm, we have a kitchen, Ital Kitchen, and a farm. And when people go to our farm, they can see bananas, they can see pineapples, mangoes, cane, all kind of stuff that they never have seen before. And to me, it's very normal. I grew up around these things. But when you see somebody seeing a mango or a banana, oh my God, I never thought that this grow like this. You know, it's beautiful. And people feel the love and the interaction with the owners and the local taste, the fresh seasoning. Those are things that you cannot find. Sometimes you cannot find it in big corporations and big restaurants, you know.
That is so true.
So it's beautiful, you know.
Because everything gets lost in the franchise.
And we also support the local farmers, the organic farmers. There is not much organic farmers on the island, but they are. And they are working hard, and we support that. Whatever we don't have, we support the locals. We support the farmers, you know. And, you know, we have that link, like you say, we have that link with others, locals, that, you know, that we can get together and make something amazing, you know. And people appreciate that the most. They want to see that. They don't want to see the AC and the same thing over and over. They're coming from somewhere that everything is there. So when you come to St. Kitts, they want to see the special attention, the special food, the special taste, the smell, you know. So
I'm glad that Yaya mentioned specifically that when tourists come to her, because not that I'm eliminating the locals, they're very important and they play their part, but more and more we're finding globally that there's this thing called experiential tourism. That is exactly what people are traveling for. They want an authentic taste and taste in so many different ways of an authentic experience of the destination. So as Yaya said, they get a chance to speak with her and her husband and the children and so on. So they interact with the locals and everything and so on. They go outside and they see the very trees that the fruits grow on and so on. They're in the garden where, you know, they are eventually going to taste the food that was grown there and so on. They can take a tour of whatever. That has become, they're saying, the new wealth. That is how you judge how wealthy you are now. Not necessarily by the material things that you have, but by the experiences that you're able to talk about and to share with your friends and so on and
the
so
unique
forth.
experiences.
Right. And St. Kitts has a lot of that to offer. It is about being creative, people being innovative enough, partnering up with each other and so on, because we have a lot of the raw materials for that experiential tourism market. It's for us to begin thinking very creatively of how we are going to capitalize on the raw materials that we have.
Yes.
And
Now,
this is supported by the research as well. There's data that shows that research, visitors when they travel, the United Nations World Tourism Organization shows that this market for experiential tourism is the fastest growing market, and it's outpacing the mass tourism market, even with the growth of mass tourism that we see, and destinations in the Caribbean, regionally and also internationally. Other similarly situated destinations are working on what they call beyond sun, sand, and sea. Not to say that people don't want to come to the Caribbean and enjoy the beach and a traditional experience, maybe staying at the hotel, but really this trend is well documented, data driven. Visitors want to get off the property, they want to venture, they want to travel like a local. And this isn't just the visitors that are sort of trying to save money when they travel. This is affluent travelers, and this research that we're citing comes from American Express, from Forbes Travel, these companies that look at travelers that have money to spend and are trying to capitalize on that by providing these kinds of experiences and seeking out destinations that are prioritizing this kind of travel. So
They
this
want
is
something different
Yes.
something right, exactly.
and
That's not-
something unique to the country.
exactly.
Yes.
So
Another
A niche
another
market.
term that they're using for it, when we went to the conference earlier up in the year, they're calling it with. They want a with experience.
A with experience.
With. They want to do it with,
With
the
us.
locals.
Oh, I
the
see.
locals.
Yes.
Some of the things that we take for granted and we say, well, who is going to pay me money to go fishing? You understand what I mean? That is exactly what. Then they will pay you big money for you to take them out
Put
to
on
go
your
and
fishing
catch
boat.
some fish and to bring it back. And as Yaya said, season it up using the seasoning from the and to bake it and fry it and do whatever it is you're going to do. And so they will pay you big money
Right.
for that experience. It's a unique experience. You heard the fascination that Yaya says they have. Oh my God, look, a mango. And maybe looking at the mango like, okay, yes, a mango. What's the big deal?
You
It's
might
a
see it
mango.
on the shelf, but
Yeah.
you never saw it on the
Right,
tree.
but for
Right.
them,
In real life.
right, it's a big thing to see the mango actually growing on the tree.
Right.
You know, so why not? I mean, we have it naturally. Why not? If people are willing to pay us for it, it's not that you're going to take advantage, but it's there. If you can make a living, a decent living, by allowing other people to share in what God has blessed us with, why not?
and hands-on
Yes.
as
Be
well.
hands-on.
People
Right.
will actually
You can pick it
pay
off the
to
tree.
join you in working
Yeah.
at your facility. If
Making
that's
your
what your
juice.
job is, you know.
Right.
They want to learn how to make things, how to
Yeah.
right? Don't you have
Yes.
yeah?
I had the experience, yeah.
And take something home that was made here, not that was, imported and they could get in any other destination. It just happens to say St. Kitts on it here.
So
Now, every year you have what we call a cook-off,
Yes.
using the main ingredient
yes,
with various chefs from various places.
and they don't have to be certified chefs or anything. It's just about anybody can enter, because
Right.
we've had persons who are not necessarily certified chefs
Right.
who have won. Over the
Right.
years. Just regular citizens who love to cook and so on
Right.
have won.
And that is designed to bring about, to have competition, of course, but to bring about and to highlight the creativity of people
Right.
Yes,
with the ingredient.
yes.
Who won that this year?
So a lady named Lashana Davis won this year the entire Plantain Challenge, as we call it, which culminates in a cook-off. And she's currently on staff at Carambola. The other two winners, because there are multiple categories, so the live cook-off is actually for the entree and appetizer category. So they actually cook live, and the judging is based on several criteria, but one is, their ability to cook this and have it come out very well live. The other two categories are beverage, and the winner of that category's name is Darren DaCosta. He is going to be guest bartending at Jamrock on Friday and Saturday evenings. And the winner of the dessert category, her name is Taisha Martin, and she is a chef at Park Hyatt. And her dessert is actually on Park Hyatt's menu at the Fisherman's Village where she works. So that's a plantain creme brulee, so that everyone can enjoy that. And the winner of the challenge itself, Lashana Davis, that winning dish, it's a key part of Restaurant Week to have on everybody's menu, all restaurants' menus, for at least one evening during Restaurant Week. So there are exciting developments where some restaurants have decided to adopt the dish for their entire Restaurant Week, and so it's a staple part of their menu. So Carambola, of course, where Lashana is cooking every night, has it on their menu, so you can actually go to Carambola and enjoy Lashana Davis's winning dish, and it's a jerk chicken and plantain lasagna, which is delicious. She also did a guest chef experience at Montpellier Plantation on Nevis last evening, and so that was great. And Montpellier has been very supportive as well. It has a great menu, so check that out, please, if you didn't make it last night. And she's also, lastly, doing a live demonstration of the winning dish on Sunday, the last day of Restaurant Week at the Culinary Institute, as Mrs. Morton mentioned, at Sweet and Savory, which is over by the Royal St. Kitts in the shopping center there. So she'll be there cooking live, and Darren DaCosta will be making his cocktail live as well on Sunday. So lots of opportunities to get exposure for these creative, they happen to be chefs and professionals, but in the past, as Mrs. Morton mentioned, others have won who are not, and the challenge is open to anyone to enter. And to your point of really encouraging local sourcing, which is the main mission, there are restaurants that have adopted the winning dishes from the plantain or other local ingredient challenges on their menus for the year. They've now become staple menu items, or other menu items that they created specifically for Restaurant Week using these local ingredients. They now have as staple menu items. So, for example, Sweet and Savory over at the Royal St. Kitts, the owner there did a cooking class for Restaurant Week using plantain. So, cupcake with plantain buttercream frosting, which was delicious, and that is now on her menu. She's now decided to add that, so anybody can get just request the cupcake with plantain buttercream frosting, and that's cupcake, not necessarily traditional St. Kitts Nevis cuisine, but with a twist, having a plantain buttercream frosting from local plantain certainly really adds that flavor. Marshall has added several dishes from throughout Restaurant Week. His breadfruit chowder, breadfruit puff are sort of legendary at this point. He's one of the restaurant owners that has decided to take up this menu item. So Lashana's, his twist on her plantain and jerk chicken lasagna is on his Restaurant Week menu every night. So
what about trademark?
Yeah.
Right there.
You haven't arrived at trademark.
Not quite.
No. Well,
this is my recipe.
Right. Well, they give the recipe as part of, that's a key part of the competition.
Yes.
And it's been, they're willing to give it because they it's quite a sort of feather in the cap to know that these restaurants are cooking, and Darren DaCosta, even he wasn't required to share his recipe as not having won the cook-off piece, but he still won the challenge. He willingly agreed to share the recipe and is going to be providing it to restaurants. He just wants people to taste his cocktail.
So there is no obligation by the person who wins to share their recipe.
There is an obligation for
the cook-off.
Right, yeah. Exactly.
But the thing is to try to market.
Yeah,
that's part of the prize winning.
Part of the prize winning to as many restaurants.
Yeah, it's in your
all the restaurants, all acts too.
Right.
Yes.
It is in your own best interest. I would think if I had one, and I had something that I would want people to talk about my dish and everything, I would willingly share. I mean, think about trademark later.
Right.
Share and get it on other people's menus.
Right.
And especially for persons who are not well-known chefs, it gives them a real good opportunity to become known. Because one of the things we ask the restaurants feature in the dish is to use the person's name. So Lashana's jerk chicken, blah blah blah. So then it could also lead to question, who is Lashana? Why is this dish named for Lashana? And the waiter or waitress can then share, she won this year's Restaurant Week cook-off.
That was in your CV.
Exactly. And we do want to especially commend the restaurants that do employ the winners who have sort of shared them for the week. They've really been quite willing. Her employer Carambola has been willing to let her be a guest chef at Montpellier and do this live demonstration at a different restaurant on Sunday. So that's been really nice to have that partnership. The restaurants are just, you all are so wonderful to work with and so willing to come together and offer these discounts, wanting new people to come and be able to experience what you have to offer. And there's really quite a collegiality and friendly and really just patriotic, I think, spirit among the participants who are giving to, in the long run, I think, all together be able to enjoy the development, and the benefits that come from
something that I've noticed over the years is that we're getting more and more young people who are willing to part of the competitions and so on, which is good, you know, because, and perhaps that is why some of them are so willing, as Diane said, to share their recipes and so on, because it's actually in your, as I say, your own best interest to get well known. Your name rings a bell. At some point you're going to perhaps want to start your own little establishment and so on, and
somebody will hire you.
Somebody will, if not hire you, at least they say, like,
People
isn't that
come
the
to
girl
eat.
who
Won.
won
That's
this
right.
so and so and so? She seems to know what she's about, you know. You know, and I saw her
try,
at Carambola when she used to be there, very efficient. She seems to think, I think I'm going to give her a try, you know.
Absolutely.
So, you know, it's a way of building your own brand and your own name, you know, down the road. It's not always about the immediate, what you can get right now,
Right.
but it's about thinking about the future and how, you know, that becomes a stepping stone towards what eventually you would want to do as an independent, you know, an entrepreneur.
And they're on the media circuit right now. They're doing radio interviews, TV interviews, and for the first time in many cases. I remember sitting down with Taisha before going on, and also Lashana. Darren won last year as well, so he's a repeat winner in the beverage category. So he's challenging his colleagues to come out and enter the competition next year. But yes, this was the first TV and radio appearances that these young ladies did, and they did a great job. And this is really good training. You know, they'll be able to build those skills going forward to be able to promote themselves as entrepreneurs or whatever they do end up going forward. They've been very impressive, and it's really been enlightening to.
Okay, so this is your fourth year, which means your fourth year, consecutive year.
Yes.
Which of course means that if it's continuing, it means then that there have been successes.
They most certainly have been.
Could you speak to some of the successes and the feedback that you have received over the years about Restaurant Week?
Kathleen can jump in, but very often she is the focal point. She's the contact for a lot of what we do. And Kathleen tells us all the time that, well, the mere fact that the numbers are growing, every year we are seeing additional restaurants coming on board and so on. I think we had something like 15 in Nevis, and last year we had about 7 or 8 or something like that.
Okay.
So that's almost doubling up. It suggests that the restaurants are seeing more traffic, that it is resonating with the general public, that, you know, they are getting the type of advertisement out there, the you know, very positive publicity that they would want to get, and that it makes sense for them to participate in Restaurant Week. That, to me, in itself, even if you don't come back and tell me that individually, that is very positive feedback for us. It is very encouraging that we're getting more. We have something like 40-something restaurants this year, right? So
40-something.
Yes, 40 plus. So I mean, it is a good
That
sign
includes
that
both
things
the
are.
big restaurants and the small ones.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think, Kathleen, I don't know if you remember the very first year after the Restaurant Week, there was this particular small business where nobody knew where she was.
Right.
And then she started getting emails from as far as Germany. Somebody was coming for vacation, but they would have been coming after Restaurant Week, and they wrote to ask if she would still be able to prepare the dishes so she could have them. They could have them when they got here. And I think even just looking at that particular business, that business has grown, because I remember that going to patronizing that business before week. I'm usually leaving the office for lunch like after 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And I would get lunch from her. These days, if I don't place an order, by 2 o'clock, she's sold out. She has gotten so many more customers as a result of the awareness created by her participation in Restaurant Week. And I don't think she's the only one. There are others who have gotten the same results. They increased patronage, because even the bigger restaurants, some locals think that it's only for visitors. But through Restaurant Week, they realize, oh, we can always go to that restaurant. We can use it another time. As Mrs. Morton said, you have a special occasion, a special event. Okay, we Park Hyatt, I can go to the restaurant at Park Hyatt. It's not just for the people who come in. I can take my family there. I really enjoy that dessert, and so we're gonna go and celebrate this special event at Park Hyatt, because it's not just for visitors. So those are some of the things, so that during the off season, when you have less persons coming in, you have have a mix of locals and visitors patronizing your business,
Yes.
which is important, especially for the bigger businesses. I know one business had said they were usually closed at this time of year. They would be closed for 2 or 3 days. Staff were getting
Right.
3 days work, 2 days work. They ended up being open the entire week, so staff were able to get to work for the entire week, which means the spin-off in terms of the economics for that family, because mommy is now working all 5 days or 6 days. We now have additional income. She can now spend more when she goes to the supermarket, and so the chain continues.
That is an extremely important point.
Very important.
Very important, because you're having restaurant week, but at the very same time, it is a promotion of your business.
Right.
Exactly, definitely.
It's promoting your business,
Right.
and also it is injecting some sort of innovation
Right.
into your business, attracting customers
Right.
to your business, to something that is different, and so on. So, to me, that's the big thing.
And do you feel like, from Restaurant Week, and so over the last few years, that you're seeing new faces come in, and at the tasting showcase, because the tasting showcase sold out in 2 days.
Oh, yeah, we need to talk about our tasting
Yes, that was a
showcase,
success.
because the tasting showcases on both islands, they're sold out.
Yes.
We had to put it online and on the air that, okay, please do not come to purchase any more tickets, that it's a catered affair, and we simply won't be able to take your
Right.
money because we won't be able to accommodate you.
There were so
Be-
many
be-
disappointments.
because let's face it, a lot of restaurateurs face a lot of challenges
Yes.
in terms of the sustainability of their business.
Right.
They face challenges. Sometimes you may have a restaurant open up, and when you look, it closed down.
It's a tough business.
It's a tough, right.
It's a tough business. And what I am seeing, of course, here in St. Kitts is that, we need some sort of innovation or variety. We have a lot of people who are patronizing these Chinese restaurants.
We don't
But
say
no, we're not saying don't patronize
but
the
we're saying
Chinese restaurants.
patronize everybody.
But at the very same time, it is good to promote
Of course.
the locally grown food and all that sort of a thing. The
I agree with
creativity
that.
and
100%. I agree with that. And sometimes people are not patronizing because they are not aware that these businesses
Right.
exist.
Exactly.
And
That
so
is
this
true.
this is at the heart of the whole restaurant week thing, to bring an awareness, because I remember maybe about 2 restaurant weeks ago, that would have been in 2016, that when our list came out with some of the restaurants, people say, well, where that is?
Yes.
I don't know anything about so
That's
you understand what I mean? So it brings that awareness that these establishments do exist,
Right.
and that they're locally owned, and that there is good food being sold there and everything, and so on.
Prices are competitive.
Very, very competitive.
Right.
And you know how it is. We love to share food. So sometimes when you get the plate of food, you're like, my God, this could feed 2 people. You understand what I
And-
mean? So you get a good solid plate.
And what Yaya has said to me is so important, because that environmental consciousness and social responsibility are some of the things that are talked about today when it comes to restaurants. And people are looking to go to restaurants where they can minimize the environmental impact.
Carbon footprint.
And support businesses that really align themselves with those sort of values.
Yes.
It's not just about having a business,
Is to be conscious.
it is to be conscious.
That's true. And that's our mission.
Mm-hmm.
We've been there using styrofoam for so long. And we cannot hold it no more. We have to do something about it. And we are doing this in order for people to get the consciousness of this matter. This is a serious, serious matter. So we are making these changes. We've been trying for a long time, but now we are just throwing the house through the window. Let's do this, because if we don't do it, it's hurting us. Truly,
Absolutely.
it's hurting us. Because more than plastic can be recycled, but foam, styrofoam, there is no way to recycle that.
That is
And we
correct.
use that so much in St. Kitts. And you can reuse the styrofoam. You can watch it again and use it again. But people don't do that. They just throw it in the garbage.
Just toss it.
End up in the ocean. End up in the landfill.
Yeah.
And we can hold that no more. We have a consciousness, and we can't do that.
And sometimes the food waste reduction.
Yes.
Restaurants must be
absolutely.
involved in that too.
Yes. But there are other
You know that-
ways.
Mhm.
For example, I know of one particular hotel. The food waste is given to a local pig farmer, and that is another good thing
The
because it's
social
actually better.
responsibility.
Right.
Yes. Yes. And the meat is actually better when they have the leftovers. So you get a better quality in the meat, and so you are doing something rather than sending it to the landfill, or it could be composted and help again with the growing of the
Yes.
trees.
That's exactly what we're doing in our kitchen.
Mhm.
We separate
Oh, you're
what
right.
we do. Yeah. And we have people who come for the pig food.
You're right.
Some of the compost go to our land, and the plastic goes to the recycling.
Right.
It's a procedure that you have to get accustomed to do, but once you're accustomed, you do it automatically.
Yes. Becomes
Sometimes I go back home to my country, and when I go
Which is your country? It's Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, yeah.
Okay.
And I go places, and I go to my mother's house or something, and when
You
I'm going
find
to throw
yourself
away,
there.
where is the compost? Where is the? Because you're accustomed to it, and sometimes I go places, I just hold the stuff and just wait until I can put it in the right place.
Yes. Now, it is my understanding that you are linking with some charitable organizations as well.
Yes.
We talk about social responsibility.
Absolutely.
part of sustainability.
Exactly. So this year, for the first time, one of the Restaurant Week experiences had a charitable component to it that was explicit donation. So there was a fundraiser last Saturday, the 21st, at Serendipity Restaurant that benefited the children's home. And the wine was provided by Corks and Screws. Serendipity, of course, provided their Restaurant Week dinner, and the children's home worked to, get folks to come out, and it was a really creative and fun way to raise money. They did some giveaways, so there was a chance for everyone who came out. It was a full house to win some prizes, and so it was sort of a diversified way. The children's home is creative with fundraising, and other than the walk, they do have some other walk run. They do have some other ways of raising money as they must, and so this was a really successful partnership. It seems that it went really well. It was packed, and we got really good feedback from it. And one thing we are seeing is even more, I think, social media engagement from folks this year than in past years. And, Restaurant Week is certainly not about the, just the Ministry of Tourism or me, a consultant, or anyone. It's really restaurants and people of St. Kitts and Nevis that are enjoying the experience. And we've had a challenge this year to post photos using the hashtag SKN Restaurant Week, so that we can all see your photos, and have really been getting a response, people posting photos and wanting to, where are these menus, even a month, 2 months even before Restaurant Week started, those requests started coming in. So it's only as successful as people that come out to enjoy it, and as restaurants, as you're all kind of on board, and so this year it's been quite a response.
Now, I see you have a display of very attractive goods. If you can tell me what they are.
Okay, for Plastic Free July, we have been promoting the use of reusable containers, and so we at the Ministry of Tourism, we are raising funds for the Heart of St. Kitts Foundation by offering to persons for donation stainless steel festival cups. So they're actually party cups for cold drinks. We offer them to persons if they make a donation of $15 or more, and it says refill, don't landfill, hashtag plastic free SKN, right? And then we also have reusable bags. This year the color is purple, and so this year's bags are purple. We also have some left from last year, but we are focusing on the purple bags. And because we knew that this year we would be celebrating our 35th anniversary of independence, the pouch that contains your reusable bag has the national flag on it. Inside though, the bag has the Sustainable Destination Council's logo, but it's a reusable shopping bag, which is the same size as a plastic shopping bag. So, and then you don't have the excuse very often people have, where they tell you they forget the reusable bag, or I forgot it in the car, I only remember when I get to the cashier. You can actually clip it onto your purse.
Yes.
And for the men, you can clip it to your pants, the belt or something like that. So you have no excuse. These are available at the Ministry of Tourism, and the bags we are accepting a donation of $10 easy or more for the reusable bags, and we are encouraging persons to get their bags, because Saturday we are having a match for plastic free SKN, but we are asking people to wear purple. If you don't have any purple clothes, because some people for whatever reason mightn't have anything, a top or a bottom that's purple, you can wear your bag, because if you wear it over your arm, the bag is already purple. Okay. You join us in the match. We're going to be matching from West Independence Square Street, up 4th Street, down Church Street, back around to the National Museum. And the good thing is, presently, as we are here speaking, there's a piece of art being made using plastic that was taken from the beaches on St. Kitts. So no plastic came from anywhere else but a beach on St. Kitts, and the plastics are being used to create an art piece called A Plastic Ocean. We want you to, as you walk through the archway of the National Museum, visualize how it is under the ocean with so much plastics. Because while it might not be the case in St. Kitts and Nevis as yet, it might not be that bad, there are places which we have seen in the documentary where you are stepping from plastic to plastic. It's so much plastics. So just imagine what it is like for the sea life swimming through all of this plastic as you walk through the archway. So that is what we're going to end there. And then we take people down to Ross University, those who want to come and look at the documentary. But we have the items. We also have some plastic straws. Sorry, not plastic. Oh, as I tell my co-workers, I get hives even saying it. We have stainless steel straws. Okay. They're reusable. And for those who have concerns, there's a pipe cleaner that you can just use to clean your stainless steel straw. And you reuse it for how long? I mean, stainless steel is not going to be broken down anytime soon. So you can have it for a very long time.
Yeah. What do you have here?
Well, here are the compostable products that we are bringing to St. Kitts. They are made from different materials, all of them 100% compostable. This one here look like plastic.
Smoothie cup.
These are smoothie cups, but they are 100% compostable, made from corn cellulose. This one here is the spoons and utensils that you need. These ones are made from cane.
Wow.
So these look like plastic, but it's not plastic, right? Oh, sorry. Then the foam containers that we use daily, we are changing them for compostable cane bagas.
Bagas. So that's made from bagas.
The same. This one is carton board, and the top is made from compostable material as well. So we are making these changes in order to inspire others to change the plastic for compostable. This one is a straw, the same way compostable, and it's available for everybody to use. And we are encouraging people to use first your reusable containers, and this is the alternative.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I'm interested in the compostable container, but I'm more interested in what is inside.
That is compostable.
Yes, this is salad and nuggets by Ital Creations. This is a vegetarian vegan meal. It's made from the nuggets are made from 3 different grains, and it doesn't have any soy. We don't work with soy. It's not good for you.
Soy is not good.
Soy, the way the chunk soy and all these things, the way they produce the soy material, the soy food, the process, the process is not good for your health.
Have you tried
So-
telling that to the Chinese? They use a lot of soy.
Yeah, tofu.
It depends on
You have soy
process.
sauce.
the
you know,
process.
so
The
the
processed
how it's
soy
done.
is not good. So
It
in
can be
Ida Creation, we don't
distilled.
use
Soy
it.
can be distilled, can't it?
Can be
Distilled.
yes. If I'm fermented.
And fermented.
Fermented is good, the same way. But chunks are not good. We don't support that.
Okay.
So we don't serve those things in Ital Creation. This here is we have the cookies, coconut, oatmeal, and chocolate cookies are handmade in Ital Creation. If you want to taste, there's a stuff around.
Yes.
These are coconut kisses. They are made from coconut and it
I've
has
had those
guava.
before.
Yeah,
Guava.
they're really
Yeah.
good with the guava.
Yes, and this one here, I don't know if you know Pop Tarts, the American Pop Tarts. This is I-Tarts, Ital Creation tarts.
Okay.
Right?
Wow.
You have guava in the middle, and everything is made with whole wheat flour. No eggs, is vegetarian, vegan, and these are our green vibe juices. I know you.
No, those bottles, are they compostable as well?
They are not. We are in the process. We cannot do everything at the same
Okay.
time. But for now, they come in this one, but we are going to make changes to glass.
Okay.
What we are doing is trying to make a little transition. These are very expensive stuff. So we're trying to do it little by little by, making changes. We also have here a juice made, it's not a juice, it's a probiotic drink.
Yes.
It's made by a local entrepreneur. We are supporting him because these drinks is amazing. This is a probiotic drink
It helps
that
digestion.
it helps your digestion. It looks and it tastes like a soda, but it's not.
Okay.
So yes, this is very, very rich. So we are anything that we see that we can support local people. We are doing that in Ital Creations.
Okay. Kathleen, you want to speak a little bit about your giveaway, and then I'll open the lines.
Sure, yes. So that's right. We are doing a giveaway of lunch for two at Jamrock. And so I would love for us to open the lines, as you said. The way that you could win this lunch for two at Jamrock during Restaurant Week is if you answer the following question. So Restaurant Week has all new experiences, as we've mentioned, and we've talked a lot about them. If you can name one of the Restaurant Week experiences that's coming up this weekend, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, then we'll take your answer. And if it's correct, then you win Restaurant Week lunch for two at Jamrock.
Okay.
And again, Jamrock is a little hint if you've been listening.
Okay, so we are going to open the phone lines and the numbers to call. The local number is 465-2555. That's the local number. And the overseas number is 1-718-577-2916. 1-718-577-2916. We await your calls.
Somebody calling a Ruby boy?
Oh,
No.
Somebody is calling.
you can see.
Working for you, good afternoon. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, hello, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, the phone open for the question that was asked about Restaurant Week, or it open for other things, other input, and talking about plastic?
It's open for other inputs as well.
Okay. Well, I don't know about the Restaurant Week. Well, I want to say this. I agree that we are fighting to save the marine lives as much as possible and to preserve Mother Earth from the load of plastic. But hear this now. A lot of self-entrepreneurs, they make the local drinks from whatever local fruit. And it is said that everybody are trying to avoid these glass containers, because when you finish with a glass container, it can be used as a dangerous missile. And that is why people like the water company and the bottling company, they switch from glass to plastic. So could you tell us what solution they will have to do to put their products in after they finish away with the plastic? I'll listen after you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. With respect to the plastic bottles, what we are saying is reusable containers. Now, first, you have an alternative. There are the larger bottles of water which can be refilled, because they are water fountains, and they have the 5-gallon bottles which are refilled by the water bottling companies. So it means you eliminate the need to have the smaller mini water bottles and the 16-ounce bottles. You also take along your reusable cup that I was talking about, or your reusable water bottles. You can fill your bottles with water directly, right? So you don't need to use that container. Some of those people who are selling the fruit juices do not necessarily need to use individual bottles. If we were bringing our container, for example, to purchase the drink from the vendor, they would just fill your 16-ounce cup, like the reusable cup that I have here, the stainless steel cup, with your 16-ounce juice, and you pay for 16 ounces. Same way we did when I was younger, when you were going to buy what we call sweet oil. Nobody gave you sweet oil in a plastic bottle. You didn't buy it. You used to have to take the old rum bottle, wash it out, and take it and have it filled with the cooking oil. Right? So there are ways we can do it. Yes, we don't want the missiles, and that is something, of course, that is of major concern. But if we start, for example, when we have events like festivals, people are encouraged, and you can have incentives for people to bring their cups, like the stainless steel cup that I'm talking about, or their own reusable plastic cup. Because I saw this happen at Christmas. You're at a bar during Carnival, you go and you buy a drink. You're getting the same drink each time. The person gives you a new plastic cup each time you come back. How about even if you just want to continue using the same cup? Because you're going to have 10 drinks by the end of the evening. But by the end of that, you would have gotten 10 plastic cups. How about just one plastic cup instead of 10? Think of how much waste we would eliminate if we were to do things like that. And if more and more people were to do to take their own cups, we'd have less of those problems. You buy the bigger bottles that can be refilled at the fountain size, the 1.5 gallon size. One of the local water companies offers a refill station.
Someone is on the line.
And the brewery uses glass bottles all the time for
right.
Working for you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. For the question, is it Jamrock is having and you go to Jamrock Friday evening where they will be serving the plantain cocktail?
That is correct.
Yes.
Well done. We need the contact information.
Yes. We'll take your contact information offline.
Okay.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Could stay at Jamrock all day.
Yeah, so we do have options, and it's about reducing the amount of plastics that we have. So if not everybody does it, even though ideally we would want it to be everybody, if all of us, for example, in this room were to take our reusable containers every time, think about how much plastic would be, how much less plastic. And I also wanted to clear up something. We are not only concerned about the marine environment. Plastics end up in the gut sides, they're at the landfill, they're having toxins that Yaya spoke about. Those leach into the soil. The plants absorb what is in the soil. So we are planting trees. Whatever is in the soil, they're going to take it up. The fruits that we are going to eat will have in the substance that is absorbed by the plant, by the roots of the plant, from the soil. So it's not just the animals in the sea. We are concerned about the animals, the two-legged ones, on the land as well.
Yes. Now, Mr. Hanley, John Hanley over in Nevis, Nevis Ministry of Tourism, who was supposed to be on the panel today and who can't be here today. I'm sure you're listening, and we are awaiting your input. We are awaiting your call. If you're listening, could you please call? Okay.
And they have an exciting activity they're planning for Plastic Free July celebration. They're tying it into something they're already doing, and that's the good thing about these things. They're tying it into a Culturama event for this Friday, which also is tied to a restaurant week activity. So everything is being integrated because they're not separate. Everything is dependent on something else. And so he should be able to speak to what they're doing on Nevis with respect to Plastic Free July as well as Restaurant Week. Just Saturday we had the showing of the film in Nevis as well at NIPAC Center.
That was the first time?
Yeah, the response was really good. I mean, there were questions being asked. People are asking, because one of the things in the film is that plastics can be used to make diesel.
Yes.
And so that led to a whole lot of questions. We're talking about the cost.
Petroleum.
Right. We're talking about the cost and cost of diesel. Just yesterday somebody was remarking to me that they noticed the price of diesel is creeping up again. If plastics offers an opportunity to create diesel, isn't that a possibility for us to look into? They had questions about young people being involved, and luckily for us, the march on Saturday is being led by young people, because it's being led by the children who are in the Sea Turtle camp this year. They're the ones who are responsible for putting it together. We are just following them. We as the adults are supporting the young people who are taking the message through the streets of Bastia about the need for us to end plastic pollution for their future.
That is where it needs to start.
Exactly, with our young people. And they're very good messengers, eh? So I'm sure they're going to have a lot in store for us by the time they get to that march on Saturday. We'll be amazed by the things that they'll be telling us that they think that we as adults might already know.
And they tend to be big influences in their own homes. They're the conscience of the parents. And say, "Mommy, you're not supposed to do X and Y and guilt you out. You know, guilt you into perhaps doing the right thing and so on." And so it helps, you know. They're little messengers and ambassadors taking that word that we want to get around.
True.
It's all about changing behaviors.
Yes.
It is about changing behaviors, which are some of the hardest things to change.
Yes, especially adults, eh?
Yes. Children adapt.
Children adapt, but people get set in their ways, and to change behavior has to do with somehow a philosophy shift,
True.
a philosophy change. You know, your worldview must change and so on, and sometimes those are the hardest things to change. Sometimes people take those to their grave, and sometimes those things put them in their grave.
Sadly.
You see? But if there's no change in behavior, and if we can't change our behavior over time, if we can't adapt to new realities,
Right.
What's gonna happen?
what is going to
It's
happen?
a matter of survival.
The change has to take place on a number of different levels, and I know we began talking about legislation, but at some point that is going to have to take place in St. Kitts. People, you want to rely on people to do what you know is the right thing and so on, and as Diane said, you want to apply moral suasion, but sometimes that isn't enough, and so you have to give people a certain amount of time within which to do what they ought to do. And then after that, if they don't do what they ought to do, they must be made to do what should be done.
Yes.
And you know, so I think it's a gradual, as you say, it's about changing behaviors, changing attitudes. But we together we are going to have to come from a number of different angles. So
Yes.
you want people to do the right thing, government does something else, you know, the law does whatever, and so on and so forth, until we bring all of those different, you know, things that must work together to make things happen. We make sure that we bring them
with the same goal, of course.
Right.
Of
They're not, but they must not be working against each other.
Right.
But as a whole, you know, awareness, that is why what you're doing is so important. That awareness is so important. Because if people are not aware they will not change their behavior.
Exactly. Yeah. Continue.
They
to
keep
operate
doing
in
the
ignorance.
same thing over and over and over again.
And there are good practices. This is where, it does help to look at what are these other jurisdictions doing? How have they solved this problem? This isn't a new, I know plastic is a relatively new material
Right.
in our, human history. But when we think about recycling and solutions for waste management and eliminating single-use plastics, there are good examples out there
Right.
that could be adopted. So this kind of, looking at film screenings and this whole campaign that's
Right.
designed to be adopted year round, but really put the attention on it for July. And what can we do is, it's wise to look at some other examples, and
Exactly.
plenty of places have already implemented
Done.
legislation, already charge people for a bag, and don't even offer plastic bags. It's paper
Right.
bags. They've decided to switch to paper, and if you need a paper bag, then we're going to charge you 10 cents or
Yes.
whatever it is. But even those studies show those little incentives for bringing your own, and then maybe a little penalty for not.
Right.
They
May work.
psychologically they go a long way.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's true.
What would have been nice if you could have gotten some of these restaurants that are on board during restaurant week to sort of promote this idea of plastic free.
Well, we did
actually-
this year.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So this
we-
was a partnership. Plastic Free
Yeah.
July came to Restaurant Week and said, down the hall. Said,
Yes.
So how many of them are doing it?
I'm not certain. I know definitely that.
Well, of course, ITEL Creations. That
is on board.
that is very clear.
And you know what
Yeah.
I saw at even at
Vibes
the
is also-
tasting showcase, I saw that there were
Yes.
some persons
Yeah.
who were using the little paper boats, for want of a better word, the little things they were made out of paper. Whereas in previous tasting showcases, we would have had the
Everything was
plastic
styrofoam.
plates and the styrofoam this and the so on and so
Or
forth.
the
So
what?
they,
Reusable plates.
Yeah.
The glass.
yeah, so people.
Or ceramic plates.
It is catching on. It is catching on, and some of the and as Yaya said, sometimes it isn't something that is going to take place overnight. You're not going to see this complete transformation, and
Because
everybody
We
has
have become
stopped.
so dependent.
Yeah, it is going to take a weaning process, to get people to understand and to buy into the whole thing. That
I mentioned it before. Part of what is driving all of this plastic is that plastic is cheap.
yes,
That's a big
Yeah.
problem.
that is
Yeah.
true. That is true.
But collective action. So this is
Yeah.
this is why Plastic Free July or Plastic Free SKN came and said, well, let's look at what we can do together. And so this year, it was just about
Introduction.
the awareness and introducing the movement of Plastic Free SKN, and we sort of sent out a communication saying, we ask you if you would please consider
Right.
to unless a guest requests a plastic straw specifically or a plastic bag specifically or other single-use plastic, please refrain from just automatically giving it. And the tasting showcase, as Mrs. Morton was mentioning, we asked this to be as plastic free as possible, and so some restaurants actually did bring the paper instead, boats, trays, and we asked people. We actually distributed some art that
Yeah.
the ministry
Yes.
had ordered as well, so that we said, please, as a guest, as you enter, please use this and reuse it, as much as
you go
possible,
around, right.
just to try to reduce. But there is discussion about how we could. We're in talks with restaurants about how could we formalize this,
Yes, and for
more
next year.
for next year.
Yes.
And as the restaurants are submitting their commitment forms about the elements of Restaurant Week participation, could this be included in
Yes.
that
Right.
set of guidelines? So that, because otherwise, if you have a movement like this with stakeholders, and we're not systemically approaching issues common to all, then it's not going to be an effective initiative after all, right? And even in terms of ordering these kinds of materials, collectively it's much less
yeah.
expensive
Yes.
than if one single restaurant
Right.
on in the country is doing it, right?
Right.
So potentially there are synergies to be found there as well.
Yes.
Well, as we said, I mean,
we
it, I mean, I can't speak for the government, but if it gets to that level, perhaps concessions can be offered to. I'm
Right.
just saying
Yes.
to certain restaurants on certain things, you know, that they're
So
going to
is there any
use certain-
incentive
Right.
being given to
For-
restaurants for environmentally friendly
No,
I
initiatives?
can't say that
Not
that's
at the
all,
moment.
but it might be something that we might
Be
be
a
able to
concern.
promote. You know,
Okay.
consider it that, you know, we are pushing this whole finish away with the plastic, go towards things that are, you know, are going to break down very easily and so on, the compostable things. And so we may make the recommendation, perhaps as an incentive to businesses, you may, you know, try to offer a little discount on, you know, purchasing certain items.
Right. Now, where can people find information in terms of a list of the restaurants
Great. So
for Restaurant Week?
Well, these
because I want to
flyers-
go to some.
good. Well, these flyers are floating around in hard copy now, but the most updated information is online. Is at the Facebook page, St. Kitts Nevis Restaurant Week on Facebook, and also on Instagram, which is SKN Restaurant Week. And the list of the experiences here, so what's left of them, and also the full list of participating restaurants. That information is all
And the prices are there too.
Yes.
exactly.
And
And
the-
in
Okay.
cases
The
the
menus.
the
I
menus
see
as
things
well.
like easy $162 and so.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the top tier.
Okay.
It's a
Yes.
20,
That's
40,
the
60.
top tier.
Yes.
Yes.
So you have the top tier, you have the middle tier,
Yes.
Yes.
The middle tier is 3-course dinner for $40 US, and that's restaurants like Serendipity, Marshall's,
Carambola,
Carambola, Spice
Hermitage in
Mill,
Nevis.
Hermitage on Nevis, several on Nevis, and on St. Kitts. And then restaurants are offering a
Lunch
US $20 dinner special. So that's, you know, chinchillas, you have spratnet there with a lobster special. Lots of restaurants on board
And there's
offering
lunch.
variety from $20 US dinner all the way up to $60
but
US
plantain
dinner.
has to be on that menu.
Plantain has to be on
Must
the menu.
be on the
and there's
menu.
lunch. And I do want to highlight there is a special category that this is the second year. It's the and more category. So this is restaurants that don't have a brick and mortar location, but they have food that they're offering and it's delicious, and they're doing a special featuring plantain. So these two this year are Shop, Eat, Thrive. And it's the same brand as Salubrity, the same folks that are behind that brand. So they
Yeah.
make hair butter, hair care,
Yes.
bath and body products. But they also have some foodstuffs as well. And they're making a plantain cheesecake, I believe. And then L'Oreal Foods and Yaffine, also they're making all sorts of natural products, bath, body, you know, agro-processed goods. And they have a plantain jam that they've made for Restaurant Week. So
Okay.
the contact information is there as well. But like the Facebook page, because there's lots of information, not just during Restaurant Week, but throughout the year. And that's really where you'll find the most up-to-date information.
Okay, I think
We need to get to 2,000 followers. We're almost there. So
Okay.
please like the page.
we are out of time. Is there anything that you would like to say before we leave?
Well, everybody's
Did you
looking
have
at
something
me.
else to say? That-
So I want to say thank you, Mr. Williams, for having us. And of course, we want to take the last few minutes to promote the rest of Restaurant Week, to encourage our visitors and our locals to go on out to all of the various eating establishments. There may be some establishments that aren't necessarily even listed here, but who we sure have very tasty cuisine and who would be using plantain, because plantain is something that we use in a lot of our dishes. So go on out, enjoy yourself, treat yourself, take out a friend, you know, take out your spouse, go on out during Restaurant Week and have a very, very good time. Pay attention to the special experiences that we are promoting, and make sure that you take advantage of all of these very, very deep discounts that you are going to enjoy at all of the eating establishments that we have on, you know, our poster here. So we want to say thank you very much for those persons who would have supported our events and activities so far, and we look forward to your continued support this year and in the years ahead.
And don't forget to skip the straw.
Skip the straw and all of the
And
other
bring your own
plastic
bag.
and other materials that are not going to break down, you know, the way that we would want, and use those things that are compostable, as Yaya has said. Okay?
Anything, Yaya?
Thank you for inviting me, and we are working hard to make this education process as easy as we can. and just keep supporting the local products, local activities, because we are supporting each other. We can grow better, we can do better. So thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome.
I could not say it any better myself. Just the local. You have such wonderful ways of life here, and just that's what others, when they come here, want to experience. And so you've got it good. And buy and support local.
Okay. Well, I want to thank all of you. Thank you, Kathleen. Thank you, Yaya. Thank you, Dianelle. And thank you,
Pleasure.
Arlene. I want to go now to a restaurant and eat. I am actually hungry, but I'm looking at that food right across from me.
Temptation.
We want to thank you very much for tuning in to today's program. Those of you who called in, those of you who listened, we appreciate you tuning in every week to this program. Next week, we will be back for another Working for You. I am your host, Lesroy Williams. Until then, continue to support Restaurant Week. Remember, it goes until the 29th. See you.
Working for You. A weekly talk radio program which highlights developments of national interest and the activities of your St. Kitts Nevis government. Join host Lesroy Williams as he presents news, views, reports, and interviews about everything regarding the activities of the Team Unity government and the building of our communities and the development of St. Kitts Nevis. Tune in and call in to interact with your government and share your views regarding the upward forward development of your community and our beautiful Twin Island Federation. Working for You is weekly, every Wednesday live from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. on ZIZ Radio, Win FM, and Sugar City FM with rebroadcast on participating stations. Working for You.